For years, I dedicated my life to my children, Jake and Emma. From the moment they were born, I made every sacrifice a father could. I worked long shifts, took extra jobs when money was tight, and always put their needs before mine. Their mother, Lisa, and I had divorced when they were still young, but I never let that change my role in their lives. I showed up for every school event, every soccer game, and every late-night phone call when they needed me. I was their father in every sense of the word, until the day they decided I wasn't. It started with small things, little comments that felt off, but didn't seem serious at first. Jake would stare at himself in the mirror for longer than usual, comparing his features to mine. Emma made a passing remark about how she didn't inherit any of my traits. It was subtle at first, but over time, I noticed their mother was fueling these thoughts. She had always been difficult, often bitter about our divorce, but I never imagined she would go this far. One evening, when we were supposed to be having dinner together, Jake finally said it. His voice was steady, but I could see the hesitation in his eyes. "Dad, we don't think you're really our father." I let out a short laugh, thinking it was some kind of joke, but Emma shook her head, looking uncomfortable. "Mom told us some things. She said there's a chance you're not our biological dad." I felt like the air had been sucked out of the room. My children, the ones I had raised, loved, and fought for, were now doubting that I was even their father. I looked at them, searching for the kids I had spent my whole life protecting, but all I saw were two strangers questioning everything we had ever shared. "What are you talking about?" I asked, my voice tighter than I intended. We want to know the truth," Jake said. "We want a DNA test." The betrayal hit me like a punch to the gut. After everything I had done for them, after every sacrifice, they wanted proof? They didn't trust me, didn't believe in the love I had given them unconditionally. But despite the pain, I agreed. If they needed this to silence their doubts, I would give it to them. The test was done, and the results arrived a week later. I opened the envelope with shaky hands, my heart pounding. The moment my eyes landed on the words, my entire world shattered. I wasn't their biological father. I read it over and over, hoping I had made a mistake, that I had misunderstood. But the truth was undeniable. Lisa had lied to me for years. I had raised children who weren't mine, believing wholeheartedly that they were. I had given them everything, and in return, they had doubted me. I thought they would regret asking for the test, that they would see the pain it caused me, but instead, they acted as though my presence in their lives had suddenly become less significant. Emma wouldn't meet my eyes, and Jake, my son, who I had held as a baby, who I had taught to ride a bike, stood there looking at me like I was some imposter. "We appreciate everything you've done for us," he said after an awkward silence. "But now that we know, we feel like we need to explore where we really come from. Explore where they really came from. As if the years I had spent raising them, comforting them through nightmares, and teaching them life lessons meant nothing. As if DNA was the only thing that mattered." I stood up and walked out of that room without another word. If I wasn't their real father, then I wouldn't waste another second pretending to be. At first, they didn't seem to care. They had their so-called real father to find. I heard through mutual friends that Lisa had told them who he was, a man who had been nothing more than a shadow in their lives. He had never reached out, never been there for them, but somehow he was the one they wanted now. Months passed, and the calls started coming in. At first, I ignored them. Then the messages started. They weren't the confident, assured kids who had confronted me that day. Their texts were hesitant, full of regret. They wanted to talk. They wanted to see me. They wanted their dad back. But I had already walked away. Their real father wanted nothing to do with them. The man they had abandoned me for had never cared, and now they were realizing it. But some things, once broken, can never be repaired. I had spent years proving my love to them, and when they needed me, I had always been there. The one time I needed them to believe in me, they turned their backs. And now, when it was too late, They wanted to undo the damage. But I had nothing left to give.